For a long time, rulers having the ability to build menageries of exotic animals or exchange them as gifts was a sign of their political power. Usually this was done with animals that would themselves be seen as symbolizing royalty or strength, like lions. But one of the most important historical examples was actually one of the weirdest animals, a giraffe. The Medici family had taken power in the 15th century Florentine Republic under Cosimo de Medici, but while they'd positioned themselves well, they were ultimately just a rich merchant family exercising significant political control within a republican government. Cosimo's grandson, Lorenzo, sought to solidify that power and prove himself to be a true prince. He was almost derailed by Pope Sixtus IV, who, in an alliance with the Pazzi family, Florentine rivals of the Medici, attempted to assassinate Lorenzo and his brother Giuliano. They killed Giuliano, but Lorenzo survived, and the attempt galvanized his resolve to position himself as the unquestioned ruler of Florence. Ultimately, the important part in maintaining control in Florence for Lorenzo was that Florence would see other Italian nobles and outside rulers treating him as the ruler, even if he technically didn't have that position. On top of diplomatic efforts in Naples, and with family marriages between the Medicis and the newly ascended Pope Innocent VIII, Lorenzo wanted to obtain a giraffe as a status symbol which hadn't been seen in Europe since the victory parade of Julius Caesar returning from Egypt in 46 BCE, when Romans started calling it a camel leopard and debating about whether or not that was a good description. No other animal had really captured their imaginations in the same way, and Lorenzo wanted to capitalize on that. Florence had maintained a commercial treaty with Egypt since 1422, but it hadn't been especially productive, and Lorenzo wanted to build on that while potentially also getting a giraffe in the process. Capet, the Mamluk Sultan in Egypt, was eager to get Lorenzo's help in securing papal and French aid, holding back the possibility of an Ottoman invasion. Lorenzo asked for the giraffe in return and promised it to Anne, the regent of France, securing her cooperation. This way, Lorenzo would get his giraffe for a while using it for his real goal to show that he was involved in the political sphere. Capet even called Lorenzo the King of Florence, which he legally was, and I can't be clear enough on this, absolutely not. In November 1487, his new giraffe arrived in Florence. Unfortunately, the giraffe died about a year later, and when Anne asked where her giraffe was, there was no animal to send. But the giraffe had already done its job of helping to secure Medici power, which they would hold on to in Florence for several hundred years.